Sasha.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm good.
So you
Happy Friday. I'm from the UK. I love you guys.
so you're calling us all the way from Europe. Wow.
Yeah, England.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
So
it.
so what time is it there right now?
12:05 a.m.
Okay. So
Oh,
it's midnight. It's the
Yeah,
midnight
midnight.
hour for you.
all right, we
Yeah, it's
appreciate that.
bedtime soon.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Hmm.
No, of
We just
course.
gonna hop right into it. So you calling us from England.
hmm
How many children do you have?
I've got a son. He's 11 months.
Okay, 11 month old son, a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
And so what's going on? Who's the deadbeat? Is you alienating your baby, or is your baby daddy a problem?
Well, this is why I kind of wanted to join because technically it's him, but he tries to make out like it's me. And sometimes I sit here and I question like myself. Um, so I'll just get into it so you guys have a bit more clear understanding.
Okay.
Um,
Before
he's
you
not.
start, before
Yeah,
you start, we have to ask, what was the relationship? Was it a situation? Were you married? One night stand?
we
Like
were
what was?
together.
Okay,
Yeah, we were just together.
for how long?
That's not very long. I would say. Is this including me having the child or before I got pregnant?
No, just you know before you
Since
got
you
pregnant.
know them,
Right? How did you
So I've known
guys?
him since last year, January.
okay.
Okay.
So
So who ended the relationship, or
I did. I ended it. I ended
why?
the relationship. Um, it just wasn't working out. And he was supposed to come and see his child, but he was with a girl. He says he wasn't cheating, but and this was when my son was first born.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you felt as if you guys were in a relationship and he was seeing other women, and so once you knew that he was for sure seeing other women, you just decided not to deal with him anymore.
It was just the fact that he used to lie, like unnecessarily. Like I've got no problems with him having female friends, any type of friends, same way he didn't mind, but he would lie unnecessarily. So when he would say that he's coming to see his son, and then I'm waiting hours and hours and he wouldn't come, and then tell me he was with a girl at a restaurant, I was yeah. And my
Okay.
son was a newborn at this stage. He was only 1 week old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
okay. So I'm gonna ask you this, because I'm gonna keep it real, because everybody want to know. So he's cheating with you. He's not showing up for your kid. Um, are you being? That didn't cause no bitterness or anything, like.
Because you said he's blaming it on you. So, and you did say that you kind of like try to look at the situation and see if you are the one in the wrong. So just kind of take us to
Yeah.
like what are some of the things that you guys are having conflict with where you feel you could possibly be a part of the problem.
Okay. The main thing I think is when he would come over, um, but he wouldn't really spend time with our son. He would come over and basically sleep with me. And I think that's where I kind of, pardon me, I would say I got not confused, but because I'm a very spiritual person, I believe in like soul ties. I believe like I'm healing, even though
Yeah.
I've ended things with him, I'm still healing. And me sleeping with him, it wasn't making it any easier. So like when he would sleep with me, he wouldn't contact me in like weeks. It could be weeks, it could be months. He wouldn't contact me and I would feel a certain type of way. But I would
Mhm.
never ever use the fact that he wouldn't contact me against him having a relationship with his son. Um, the main issue was that he would give me false promises or he doesn't know how to communicate properly. He would say, I'm coming to pick him up. He wouldn't call me the whole night, the whole day, or he would,
So
yeah, go on.
so just take us back to the beginning then. So you saying that y'all was together, y'all had a relationship and y'all was together, boyfriend and girlfriend, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Just walk us through that. So how was y'all relationship as a boyfriend and girlfriend? Because how you explaining is like it was a situationship. So
Right.
I just want you to get that
Right. For
story out.
for him, it probably was a situation, but like she said,
Yeah,
for her, she probably felt that
It was
it was a
more.
relationship, right? For her, so
So he was playing games from the beginning.
right. That probably she probably was ignoring the red flags. Correct
yeah,
me if I'm wrong.
yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
Okay.
Um, so I didn't know him long before I got pregnant. And I think that was my main problem. I didn't know him. Um,
Does he have other children?
no, he
So
hasn't got.
how was he about the news when you told him that you guys were expecting?
Um, Funny enough, he was actually quite supportive. He said, like, I'll support you whether you keep it or you get rid of it. I'll support you. He was there when I had the baby as well. Um, so I think that's what makes things a lot harder because it's like he was there at some points.
Did you
Um,
think that having the baby would make you guys like a family?
oh
What?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay. So, being in a relationship for whatever it was worth to you, having a baby, a lot of women tend to think that that will bring them closer to their partner, right?
yeah.
And so when the baby was born, it didn't change. But how was he doing the pregnancy? Pretty consistent, or
Um,
just how he always been? That you were pretty much used to accepting him for that way, but once the baby came, he just didn't meet the expectations you had.
well, like you said earlier, like there were red flags and I just didn't choose. I chose to ignore them. You was right there because even during my pregnancy, he wasn't really there. Then we was arguing at one point during my pregnancy. I think I was maybe 5 or 6 months pregnant.
Hmm.
Um, and he wasn't there. He didn't buy anything. He still hasn't bought anything for the baby. He didn't chip in.
What was the
Um,
arguments for?
so because obviously I used to live with my mum, um, and he I don't know if he still is, but he was homeless, so he was staying with me. Um,
Hmm.
so when he used to go out,
Red
I
flag.
when he used to go out, I used to leave the keys in the letterbox so that he could come in. But I would say if you're not coming home, let me know so I can take it out because it's dangerous. I'm not by myself. I live with my mum. She's in her 50s,
Hmm.
Um, but he wouldn't. Same thing. Communication. He would either tell me really really late, or he wouldn't call me at all. He'll be out like getting drunk or partying, and yeah. And I was pregnant at these times. So, but he made out as if I was being controlling, and it made me think like, am I being controlling? Like, because he never used to like coming home, and I used to think, am I doing something wrong? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, but
So
yeah,
was he
but
a work? Did he have a job or anything like that beforehand?
yeah, he did. He had a job. When I first met him, he was working, but then he lost his job. Even that as well. He said it was my fault he lost his job.
And how old was y'all at this time?
I was 19. He was 21.
So y'all pretty young.
Yeah.
I'm very young. Yeah, I'm only 20.
Man.
Yeah, so just from the little summary that you've given, it just seems like it's a first time situation for the both of you, right? He probably, if he was homeless, he already didn't have a support system. So just bringing a child into the world probably was a bit much for him. So he's not acting,
Yeah,
as he should as a father. He is new to him. He's young, and typically we hear about that a lot. With absent
He's
fathers.
a
He's
deadbeat.
a deadbeat for sure. But being the age that he is, we can
Yeah.
really give him a little grace just to say no man
Yeah.
is mature enough. It's grown men that walk away from their kids and don't do what
What
they're supposed to do,
do
right?
you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So I was just saying that with his age, now it's coming to like a little bit more better to understand why he's acting the way that he is. He's very young, very immature, right? So you can go.
Who is his support system? Like, do he have fathers, mothers? They in his life? Do you know about any of that?
he's got a very big family. He does have his mom. He's got uncles. Um,
What about his father?
no, no father. His dad's not present, and that's also
The reason why I want to highlight that is because typically, you know, man, we be fathers because we had kids, but a lot of us don't even know how to be fathers at this age.
of
So
course,
And
yeah.
it's not an excuse,
it's
right?
not an excuse
Because
at
a
all.
lot of young mothers don't know how to be mothers, and you have a baby, and you just have to learn.
You got to
But
figure it
the
out.
reality is, society just automatically, pins these stereotypes and thinks that people are just gonna get it, but that's not reality, right? That's just the propaganda of kids having kids. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
somewhere along the line, it's not gonna be a happy family, or a complete family.
So let me ask you this: so what did? Is it anything that you contribute to the situation that made it difficult, as far as telling him, since you not around,
Right?
since
Did
you
you
doing
set
this?
boundaries? Did you have ultimatums? Like, did you give him any problems, any pushback?
As in towards seeing our son.
Yes.
So of recently, I think 2 months ago, I've said like shared custody is the only route. Um, I'm really I've blocked him on everything. I'm just trying to cut all communication ties with him. We've tried to co-parent, it hasn't worked. So I'm not saying that he can't see his son. He just can't see him in my home. Um, and
Because you are going to continue to sleep with him. Is that what you feel? You feel like in order to get over the situation, you have to completely remove him out of the situation so that you can heal completely. Because if you don't, you'll continue to do the same, make the same mistakes. Is that why you are trying to cut off all communication?
partly, there's not all because we argue a lot as well. Like we've had physical altercations, and like I feel like we bring out the bad in each other more than the good in each other as parents and people. And I just feel like I don't every time he just brings me down, like mentally, emotionally, he just brings me down. And I don't want to be selfish because obviously it's not about me or him, it's about our son.
Correct.
So
So you said he can only see the child in your home.
Out.
no, no,
No, not in her
share
home.
custody. So like
So y'all have an order
um
now, or is that something y'all just talked about?
well, I've offered it. I've put it on the table. He's just said first he said he'll let me know, and then he called me, an unknown caller, and said that he can't get a solicitor because he doesn't have an address, um, a fixed
So
address. Sorry. So
so run down some of those stories. Let's jump into that. Just run down some of the stories of the times where
Y'all got into
the
an
physical
altercation,
altercation,
right?
or
What would it be about? Would it
yeah.
be about some relationship stuff or his lack of parenting? Like, what would be the frustration for you?
so it was my friend and his cousin, and they came over. We was eating a meal. They wanted to see my son, but him and his cousin they don't get along. So they were arguing outside my house. It was getting pretty loud. And I live in a quiet area. My area is quite yeah, it's not ghetto, it's quite posh where I live. So I'm saying like, can you move can you either go, stop, or take it somewhere else? Then he started arguing with me. So I told him, you need to leave my house. He's getting aggressive, my baby is in the room. And I'll put my hands up. I do wrong as well. It's not just all him, it is me also. And I said, can you please get out? And this is where I say we bring the worst out of each other. And I slapped him and he kicked my stomach. And yeah, I've
Not
just
good.
yeah.
So, what was the end result of that? Has there been any law enforcement involved or any, um, anything that he feels that you're controlling the situation? Like he can't do whatever he pleases as far as his baby goes because you guys are fighting and you may have the upper hand on him because a lot of times even in the UK because we've had males reach out to us from over there as well saying how the laws are and how they favor women. Do you think that that's a part of it as well, that he feels that you're gonna possibly put him in jail or put him in a position where he can't father his child?
Um, I don't think because this happened like quite a while ago. I would say in April. But maybe the second one, yeah, maybe he does feel that way. But I've never ever said that, like you can't see it. Like I've never, even as well after that situation, he called me straight away, and I still said you can still see him. Like I didn't stop him from seeing him because it's got nothing to do with the baby. Even though he was aggressive and things like that, I still said like that's your son, so you can still come and see him, and yeah.
So has he been taking your son at any time? I mean, of
You
course you
said
said
he
he
hasn't
haven't.
helped out financially. Is he? When is the last time you've seen him?
uh 4 months ago.
Wow,
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow. So no contact at all. You don't even know like where to find him or anything. Are you considering? I know he isn't employed or he jumps from position to position, but are you considering like child support or like going through the court system? Are you going to take the initiative to do that since he's pretty much abandoned the situation?
So there's a thing, I don't know if you have it in the US, but down here it's called child maintenance. Um, I
What's
think that
that?
I think it's child support.
Okay.
So I
We
searched up.
definitely have it in the U.S. It's not the same term, but
Yeah,
it's big business, big dollars in the
yeah.
United States. Yeah.
So I applied for that. They sent me a letter actually a couple of weeks ago, and they said that they can't find him. Um,
Mm.
You don't have an
so-
address. So won't you try to take him to court far as the parenting time? And because if you take him from that, won't won't
Does
that
it work that way?
do
Are
it?
you able to do that in the UK where you can
I don't
go
think.
after him to make him an active father, like to spend time with the child, not just the money portion or the financial aspect, but to make him, be a part of the child's life, you
As far
know.
as I don't think, as far as I'm concerned, I've never heard of that.
Okay.
Down here, I've only heard the money side, but like in order to be an active parent, I think it has to be on his side. I've even offered what's it called, a mediation, like going to a contact center, a children's center. I'll drop my son there, and he said no, he doesn't want to do it. He refused.
So do you think
Yeah.
yeah, because it's so messy, right? At what point do you think he would want to be involved? If he could still sleep with you, or just you don't think that he wants to have anything else to do with you or the baby at this point?
Well, he said it out of his mouth. He said, I
Mm.
don't want to see you, I want nothing to do with you or my son.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's tough.
Yeah.
So how did that make you feel when hearing those words?
It was crushing to hear, absolutely crushing. I wouldn't wish that pain on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
Especially with you, you thought that it was gonna bring y'all closer together. You thought y'all was gonna be a family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I know.
And it happens, and I thank you for being transparent to be honest about that, because a lot of times, especially with younger women, they don't accept the accountability and they don't realize what part they played in the situation. They like to blame everything on the father. So we do respect
Yeah,
the fact
no,
that
yeah,
you're being truthful, that the way that you view things, and you made a mistake. If you chose,
yeah,
the wrong person to have a child with, now you're in a situation. But of course, we know that deadbeats definitely exist. Nobody's gonna make an excuse for him, even with him being young as well. He knows that it's his son. He needs to step up and take care of his
Most,
responsibility.
most definitely.
But obviously, being homeless, being so inconsistent that he doesn't even have his life together. So
yeah,
someone in that way cannot even show up and be, you know, present for a child when they're still a child themselves and not even really stable. So it's a
yeah.
lot of instability that we hear, in the situation. What about his family? Are you in contact with anyone on that side, or
Um,
how's that?
I've reached out to two family members. They've ignored my message. His mum doesn't like me. Uh,
Why is that?
I would say for a valid reason. Um, We used to get on at first. I've only met her twice though. One time when I was pregnant, and then another time was when I first had my child. But I was always it's always me. Like I'm trying to call like these people. I'm trying to contact these people. Like, when do you want to see your grandson? When do you want to see your nephew? And she used to tell me, oh yeah, real soon, real soon. You know, I'm just busy with work, but real soon. Um, and yeah, Eve as well. She said, oh yeah, I'm gonna come down with one of his uncles. You know, we're gonna come over and da da da. Just false promises.
Okay.
Do they think the kid is not his?
Not as far as I'm concerned.
Have y'all ever had a got DNA test? Have they ever been brought up?
No,
Was you did you have anybody else for to cause any doubts or anything?
no. He was literally the only person I slept with.
Okay.
Um,
So,
All right.
what made you reach out to us? What was it that you wanted to? Did you just want to share your story because you are actually at this point a single mom who has a child with a deadbeat? Or was it something that you wanted to say that possibly or potentially could help others that are watching?
so I joined here today for two main things. So one of them was to share my story, especially because I know you have a few young people who watch you guys, and I feel like I don't really see a lot of young people, so I wanted to, you know, share my story and maybe um make them feel a bit more, I don't know, comfortable or like not alone.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, because they definitely be in the inbox,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
you the first to probably step up and
yeah.
actually say something. So
And then my second reason for being here is because I was just doubting myself. Like, when I came across your page a couple months back, I used to sit there and think, like, am I a bit of baby mum, or like, am I doing like, is he right? Like, because he seems to think I'm a bit of baby mum, and you know. But when I actually sit here and think about it, I've never actually said he couldn't see his son. You know, despite what he's done towards me, it's not about us. It's about our child.
And the
yeah.
reality is, even if you do recognize that you did have some bitterness because it didn't work out, you could have made some, bad decisions in the past. That doesn't determine the future, right?
Yeah.
So we always like to give everybody the opportunity to understand that he's a baby, right? And he's gonna grow up, and you want to do the best thing you can do for him going forward. And so, even if you have had some actions in the past you're not proud of, because we all make mistakes, right? Going
Yeah.
forward, you may want to do the right thing. So, for him to say that you're a bitter baby mom, if you're trying to change and give him the opportunity to be a father, that should be the sole focus. And so, for all the young people that are watching,
Hmm.
it could be really crazy, especially we know that young adults don't have the pathway or the platform, right,
Yeah.
to feel that they are supportive. It's just chaotic. You have all the social media, you know, BS going around with
Yeah.
people who don't value relationships. They don't value families. That's not the era that we are in. And so the drama and the chaotic stuff is what's popular, is what's trending.
Yeah.
So kids don't know how to raise kids. A
Of
lot of
course. Of course.
grown ass adults have the same problem.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that you came up to say, hey, I'm young, I've made some mistakes, but ultimately your baby does not deserve this,
Not at all.
right? And he
Mm.
deserves both of his parents, and this is happening way too much. And we do this to shed light on that very thing. And so we appreciate you for coming up saying that. So anybody that's watching that's young, you we know that it's happening. We know that it's not all women ain't bitter, all men ain't deadbeats, but every situation is different. And that's why we give you guys the opportunity to tell your story, because in your situation you really are at this point a single mom who has a
Definitely.
child with a deadbeat.
And
Right.
Yeah.
and it's still early too, and nothing lasts forever. So y'all both still young, and people grow.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully,
and you
he'll get his act
and
together.
it don't seem like you causing trouble. You still leaving the door open for him to see his son, but my advice to you is just continue to set the boundaries that you set in, uh,
Yeah.
and don't let him keep constantly coming over there just trying to sleep with you, nothing like that.
Right, and the
Just
violence, that's
yeah,
another thing. Like, you can't be like smacking him and stuff just because he's
Yeah.
not doing, what
yeah,
you
Yeah.
want him to do. But
just
ultimately, yeah, if you've been bitter before, you can be better tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
yeah, just leave it about the kids. That's the about the kid. That's the most important thing. Is just making it about the kid. But my question to you is, if you could have did anything better, what would that have been?
Is this during my pregnancy, during after having him, or just everything in
Just
general?
Period.
everything,
With the whole
period. The whole
situation.
situation. Of course, you're gonna say, "I wish I never met him," but nah. But I'm serious. After knowing him and after having the kid and knowing everything about him, like what situation, what choices would you have did made differently?
I wish I knew him longer, um, and actually create a friendship before laying down with him and having a child with him. I feel like if I got to know him properly and because we just jumped straight into it, we didn't create a friendship. So I
Okay.
feel like
Yeah.
if we created a friendship, maybe it would have been a bit different.
And you could have decided whether it
Yeah.
was a best choice to have a child with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Notice those red flags. Definitely. So, so yeah, that's tough, man. You young. I
And I mean, kudos to you. I think
yeah.
with everything, you still are doing an amazing job. If you haven't, I mean, if you've been completely honest with what you're telling us, right? Going off that alone, you're raising your baby the best way that you can. I mean, his dad has been around for 4 months. You've reached out. That's exceptional because that's hard to do. Some women would not even dare try to even insert themselves with the family to try to get somebody to just so your baby can know his other side of his family. So I think all of those efforts are admirable. I don't see anything wrong with that. Even if you still want to continue to do that, just always put your son first.
Yeah,
Because
Oh,
he didn't ask to be here, right? He didn't
yeah,
ask for this messy situation. If at any point you feel like you're doing the wrong thing, just think about him, and
yeah,
that should reset you and get you back on track.
most definitely.
yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
All right.
so much for joining us.
Um,
Keep
Thank
us
you for having
posted. If you want to
yeah.
come back and give us an update, we want to know, how it's
We
going, how y'all doing.
we room for y'all for sure.
Because we know that it's hard for single moms, not just as well as we don't want fathers alienated. We still don't condone deadbeat behavior. Mothers alienated deadbeat behavior. So we're supporting and rocking with you guys.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me.
All right,
Thank
get
you.
you some sleep over there in the
Yeah,
UK.
past midnight.
It's your bedtime.
Have a good
Yeah.
night.
You
Good
too.
night.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Um, yeah, it's a lot. This
Yeah.
this thing, this platform is really um that